And welcome to today's episode of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. I'm really excited today to have Craig Cooke, who is CEO and co-founder of Rhythm, here today. We're going to be talking about 20 years experience in the marketing advertising agency. But before we do that, I'd like to thank our show sponsors, Center Club, Decision Toolbox, MBN Design, Sunup Group, and Tea & Company. If you'd like to learn more about this radio show or my firm, visit our website, criticalmass4business.com. All right, Craig Cooke, welcome back to the program.
Thanks, Rick. I'm really happy to be here today, and thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, it's not every year that I get there, every show I get to have someone in who has 20 years, successful 20 years in the same industry, growing and leading the firm. So 2016 being a big year for you, where you're hitting that 20-year mark. You started as an agency. You're now a digital agency. So I love things that, entrepreneurs who've been able to capitalize on trends and things that have happened in their industry. What can you say has made the most amount of impact in your business area for you over the 20 years? What's part of the reason why you're here 20 years successfully?
Right. Well, I think that what's been the biggest impact is the pace of technological change. It just keeps evolving in faster and faster cycles, it seems, and it's been a lot to contend with, but it's created a lot of opportunities. And if we take a quick second, even to go back into what I like to call our creation story, when we really started, it was more of a .com model, actually, where we were marketing, promoting independent music artists, and we were utilizing the internet to where people could discover independent artists online, listen to song samples, buy their CD through a secure server way back in 1996. And it was just an idea before its time. There was no MP3s, no broadband. People were afraid to buy things online.
Exactly.
There's only the equivalent of the population of the state of California worldwide online, about 30 million people or so. So it was just an idea before its time, and we really didn't have the resources to just bankroll that and kind of keep going with that. So we eventually started getting these requests from companies to develop their website, and because they say, "Oh, you guys know this internet stuff. Can you design our website?" Sure. And we eventually decided to shift gears, and in 1998 is where we really started coming out with more the agency model, but really focused as a web design company first, but saw the vision for how marketing and advertising were going to change because of technology,
right? And
because of all the measurability it brings to the table. And the future was really about more of an integrated approach, and saw that back in 1998. And just slowly worked on building the competencies and the skill sets and the infrastructure to be what we are today, which is more that integrated agency, a digital agency, but with this integrated marketing approach with a digital core is how we phrase it.
Okay, so for those CEOs listening to us, he's live on octalkradio.net or maybe as a podcast off of iTunes, and they say, okay, what is a digital agency?
Right. So a digital agency would think of it as a lot of people have seen Mad Men and all these other, maybe in movies, advertising agencies and what they do, creating marketing communications in the traditional world of print, broadcast, TV, and radio. Well, similar, but just think of it as a more modern 21st century approach, because we're really utilizing the internet, mostly digital technology, to disseminate marketing communication messages to select target audiences.
Okay, as the primary channel, or a equal channel to offline, or solely digital?
Well, there's a lot of companies that are digital only, and that's really, we're 90% digital.
Okay.
We're a digital marketing agency, but we do have this philosophy of an integrated marketing communication approach, but with the digital core, meaning digital is the most important.
Okay.
Think of an atom where the nucleus, and then you have your electrons and protons running around it. Well, that nucleus would be digital in our world.
You showing off your scientific background, huh?
Well, I don't know about that, but
I'm impressed.
But that's what we want. That's why we say integrated marketing digital core.
Okay.
That core nucleus really needs to be digital in our opinion.
Okay. So take me back a little bit and help me to understand the the impact of technology in this space, did it start with the large firms who had a budget, or did it start with smaller firms as users of digital marketing technology that then went upscale? Take me back, 1998. Who were the first adopters?
Yeah, well, way back in the day, I call it the ancient days of the web because it's internet time, right? It's, a year is probably like 10 million years, right?
Okay.
the way it's evolved so fast.
Right.
And back in 1996, it was really small companies. I mean, there wasn't very many companies really of a large size really adopting. I think maybe the first banner ad may have been displayed in 1996.
Okay.
And I forget the company, but that's the year when people started paying more attention and things started to elevate. And you had a lot of companies and small companies, startups, getting funded and so forth, and then it kind of drove that whole .com craze when all the bigger companies started getting into the fold. And but back in those days, it was more brochureware that was being created on the web.
Right. Let's digitally get our information.
That's right. Let's take our brochure and put it digitally on the web, and that's what a lot of the big companies were doing. But then there was all these smaller companies that had all these innovative ideas that were coming onto the market to provide new methods of doing things and services and products, and some of them lasted and many didn't. And,
right.
Yeah, it was a very interesting time. We just we made a lot of mistakes, going through those years. I think one of them was being too laser focused on that whole independent music market that we were doing. We could have actually made some revenue in other ways more immediately.
That's a balancing act, though, isn't it? I was just talking earlier today. Entrepreneurs, you have to be really focused on your business model because there's so many distractions. But then again, you can't be so focused you miss some really great opportunity that's in your peripheral vision.
That's exactly right. You do need focus, but if you have kind of like the blinders on like the horses wear, if too much, then you're going to miss out on something that could be really good and fruitful for you. So I think it's really staying open, and that's that time was a very interesting time because it was more slow, gradual growth, and we. We're still here today, so we did something right, and we survived that whole .com bust, and then it just kept growing that whole time, and then the whole housing boom that happened, we were still growing, and that bust happened, we still growing.
There was a bust?
I know, right? Some people don't think so.
I don't remember that.
Right,
that didn't happen, did it? Yeah, the Great Depression or Great Recession. Yeah,
I call it a depression myself.
It was. I launched my business in 2007, so I went into the teeth of that. So,
right. Bold, very bold.
Very bold. Big strokes. So the innovation for digital tools and technology started with startups and smaller companies, and then kind of went up the food chain and large corporations now. Are you seeing that smaller companies would say less than 100 million in revenue, are able to keep up with the technological innovations that are available to them in digital marketing, or are they having to play? Is it running too fast for them? Is the treadmill going a little bit too fast for them?
That's a great question. I'd say it really depends. There's companies that are doing really well with it, and then others that do struggle. And there's the companies that do build up their internal marketing teams, and it's really comes down to the talent that they're able to find and get on board. If they're able to get great talent, they can do a lot and be very successful with all the various digital tools that are available. The internet has made the accessibility to talent just so easy, way easier than it was in the past. So it is companies that are smaller can acquire great talent and get a lot of things done pretty quickly. And then where an agency like ours fits in is how can we be an extension to that team?
How do you, when you go into you do work with companies less than $100 million in revenue?
We do. Our more sweet spot is more that 100 million to $1 billion or so. But yes, there's always exceptions. And,
So we're going to program for them, since the 100 million people and under tend to be the people that listen to my audience. So let's talk to them.
And then there's always things that apply to everybody. Absolutely.
But how do you help them make a decision of this? It's a seesaw, right? A teeter-totter. You've got all this different technologies and channels and networks that you could choose to use, and then there's only so much time and resource that you can put towards that effort. How do you help companies select, and it may even be with a $1 billion company too, the right strategy and which products to use and which which technologies maybe not to use, or at least have a presence, but really not to invest in.
Right.
How do you help them make that decision at a CEO level?
Right. That's a great question. So it's really following a process over the past. We've been in business 20 years, as you noted earlier, but I'd say over the past 14, 12 years, we really started getting much more process-oriented.
Okay.
And we stay true to that. And that really starts, we advocate a strategy-first approach. And with that process, we start with what's called discovery, where we're really diving in and interviewing the various stakeholders, researching on the competitive business environment, what's their existing technology infrastructure look like, what are the things that they're wanting to achieve. And we compile all that information, regurgitate it in the form of a discovery report, and then get into our innovation stage, where we're really thinking strategically and across what we call our 3 pillars of strategy, design, and technology. And we have leaders from each of those departments coming together to innovate solutions to help solve business problems.
Right.
And it's really taking a look at an integrated approach, so we're not relying on a silver bullet, like some single silver bullet that's going to be the end all be all and solve all the problems. It's what's going to be an integrated solution that's made up of various components that work together to have long-lasting positive outcomes over time,
right?
Consistently. And those 3 pillars create those that overall integrated solution from each of those disciplines, and it's really going through that process, that discovery and strategy process, and really the team members working out what makes sense. Every business is different and unique. So.
Right, and we're talking with Craig Cooke. He is CEO and co-founder of Rhythm, and if you would like to learn more about their process, that is a subject that we delved into in a little more detail on your first interview here on Critical Mass Radio Show. So on your favorite podcasting software, you just type in his name, and the previous show will come up too, and you can listen to that as well. We're going to take our first commercial break here on Critical Mass Radio Show. One of the other reasons why I asked Craig to be a guest on the show today, in addition to his longevity in his field, is the fact that recently they were selected and nominated and named as one of top places to work here in Orange County. And I'd like to talk a little bit about culture and being one of the best places to work.
Great.
All right. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after these words from our commercials.
If you are an Orange County business executive, this message is for you. Do you ever feel isolated with no place to turn for advice or feedback? Who holds you accountable to your commitments in your company? Where do you find the right resources to help you and your company grow? If you have these questions, then Critical Mass for Business might be the answer for you. Critical Mass for Business is committed to helping you make better decisions. These are groups of peers running businesses just like you, providing a great sounding board to test ideas and concepts, review plan and goals, and present issues and opportunities for discussion. The result is improved strategy, accountability, people, and execution skills. If you are interested in learning more, go to www.criticalmassforbusiness.com and learn more about our executive peer group.
Successfully navigating the changing world of public relations and digital marketing requires an experienced, tenacious, yet gracious team. In business for more than 20 years, Orange County-based T & Company delivers big agency results with personalized service. For more information, call us at 714-536-8407 or visit us online at tandco.me.
Are you ready to tap into the power of social media to promote your business? It's easy to get social with Turn Up the Volume, the award-winning social media marketing professionals who know how to get results. Drive web traffic, boost sales. Get social today. Visit www.turnupthevolume.com. That's turnupthevolume.com.
And welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. Craig Cooke here is our guest. We're talking about his firm, Rhythm. He is the CEO and co-founder. And before we get back to our conversation, I just want to let you know that You're listening to us on octalkradio.live, and all of our shows are streamed live from 4 to 5 p.m. on Tuesday afternoons on the West Coast time, and you can make the time adjustments around the world. But we're also available anytime on iTunes, Stitcher.com, Spreaker.com, literally several hundred former guests' websites whose CEO has been on our show, and the company has put the interview somewhere on their website. Since we started doing this show in 2009, Adam Carolla and I started doing podcasts the same year. Our show has reached over 170,000 listeners with our various podcasts. Simply type Critical Mass Radio Show in your favorite podcasting software to find our show. All right, Craig, I said you were selected, and this is actually, if I understand correctly, Top Workplace is based on employee feedback?
Yes, correct.
So obviously you're doing something, you and your partner is doing something correctly. Can you talk a little bit about what is it about the culture of your firm that you feel allows you to have such designation and recognition?
Great, thanks. Yes, this is actually the third year we've received this designation. This year is through the Orange County Register, and the prior 2 years was through the Orange County Business Journal.
Okay.
And both publications require employee input, and there's a survey that's sent out, and it covers a wide array of factors that go into happiness at work. It's just not salary or benefits. There's a variety of different categories and so forth. And what we've done, we really are happy to have received these designations, because we've made a very strong conscious effort over the years to create a really strong organizational brand culture and to have a great positive working environment, and it really shows and helps drive performance. We really believe that. And some of the things that we've done over the years here is just above just being competitive with salary and benefits, but having events, monthly events with staff. So there's a monthly rhythm night, for example, where people just go and hang out at a designated location here locally in Orange County and just relax and have fun time with each other. We also do quarterly events where we do a quarterly check-in with everybody, which is an all-company staff meeting, and we'll meet for about an hour or so and kind of give a state of the union, kind of how things are going.
Communicate them.
Yeah, it's all about communication. This is what's happening. These are some great successes. Here's some things for us to work on. And then after that, then we go off somewhere and then hang out and have fun. We could leave the office a couple hours early and just relax and be with each other, and it's just a different form of bonding. So there's a number of various activities like that we do throughout the year that contribute to overall happiness. Also, just having a great work environment, just even the way we designed our office, that contributes to that. We're actually getting pretty packed. We're gonna have to move here pretty quick, actually. So we're looking for the next space, and we want to make that environment a really great, strong, pleasant environment to work in. So it's really important. It's makes a big difference as opposed to just going in where everyone is just into this boxed cube with gray walls and gray carpet and just bland. It's the environment is important. So it's the environment, the various events that we have together throughout the year, and also there is a lot to say about communication. Really communicating the state of the union, how the company's doing.
I find it really important with millennials.
Yes,
all workers are interested, but I think one of the key ways to successfully manage millennials is to communicate regularly.
Right, absolutely, especially with giving recognition as well. That's very important to millennials, and a lot of people. I mean, who doesn't really like to be recognized, right? But probably even more so with the millennial generation.
Can I ask you? Music was in your roots. Is there still an element of music at Rhythm?
Absolutely. Just in our brand culture, there's various musical references in our brand language and so forth.
Okay.
And even last Friday was pretty neat, where we have a theme that we have for the year that we start off with every year. And this year we actually opened it up to the entire staff to come up with their ideas to determine what the theme's going to be, because normally for the past 8 years it's been determined by management. Well, there's about 7 teams that presented, and a lot of them use a lot of musical phrases, harmony and rhythm and orchestration and just a lot of different terms that were thrown in from our brand language. And that was another thing that I think that contributes to just the being a top place to work. Is just the level of engagement, how much you engage staff. You got to treat them as team members. You're working with them. They're not working for you. They're working with you, or you're working with them.
Right.
It's just there's a lot of just a way you look at it from a state of mind as to humans interacting with each other.
So let me ask you this question, Craig Cooke, who is CEO and co-founder of Rhythm. 20 years of history in the industry. How do you and your partner, how do you stay relevant in your own mind? Because you're in a fast-paced industry, you're relying on technology that's ever-changing. I mean, to someone on the outside, it might sound like a treadmill, a difficult thing to do.
Absolutely.
How do you keep fresh in your own, between your ears? How do you keep that fresh?
Right. It's I rely on my team quite a bit, because I find myself, the more and more time progresses and the larger we get and the more complex engagements that we have with our clients, the less I know, really.
Wow.
Yeah, and I do what I can to stay up as far as reading various online news sources, and also we have knowledge sharing. That's another aspect of what people like. So once a month there's interdepartmental training and there's knowledge sharing, so attending those, and we'll have a staff member that has just learned something new and they're sharing the knowledge, or maybe they attended a conference and they're sharing that knowledge. That's one thing too, attending conferences, which I do from time to time.
Right.
That helps have an understanding of what's new, what's kind of working, and currently, and so forth.
So you have to enjoy it though too. I'm not saying you have to. I'm asking you, do you enjoy it? You must enjoy it though too, right?
Yeah, it's either that or I really like pain.
Right. It would be there would got to be an easier way to make a buck than to every day there's a different element, technology that you need to become aware of, because you may have some client who wants to try to use it.
Right. It's super fast. There's a lot to keep up with. It's just changing constantly, and it just seems like those cycles of change, like I mentioned earlier, are just getting faster and faster.
Right. And not only being competent in it and being able to advise properly, but people are sort of expecting you to get results from the programs too. So you have to not only you have to engineer something that's going to hopefully get the desired outcome.
That's right. That's right.
So it's sort of, it's maybe not trying to change a tire on a car while it's moving down the freeway, but it must feel a little bit like that sometimes. Like we're still building this thing and it's still evolving on us, right?
Right, absolutely it can. And that's where, when we're bringing on new team members, really identifying, well, where's that gap? What do we need to fill to enable our solutions to be current and more effective? So really bringing on the right team members, so then I don't necessarily have to know the details. I just have to have the base understanding, but then the team members are filling in that gap to really make sure that it gets done the way it should be done.
We're talking with Craig Cooke. We only have a couple minutes left. I wanted to ask you about the next 20 years.
The next 20 years, wow.
What are you planning as far as new factors or concepts or things that you're going to do in the new year and kind of to make the business continue to be relevant?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, for this year in particular, we're really going to be driving home a digital-first approach in a lot of different aspects, but one area in particular is digital-first branding. We've done brand development over the years. We work with other partners that do traditional branding. We've done a lot of corporate identity development over the years, and we feel much more comfortable with it. But there's one thing that we've noticed that's a problem in the marketplace with the way technology is changing, and we've really hit the mobile tipping point now, what our last integrated marketing forum was covered all about that topic, the mobile tipping point. And we feel it's imperative for companies when they're developing their brand, whether they're refining their existing brand or developing a new brand, that you take a digital first approach, because most of the eyes out there in the marketplace, professionally or on the consumer level, are really gravitating towards mobile devices first.
Right.
So if traditionally brands have been developing all their standards and so forth the same traditional way for decades, and we still see it today quite a bit, where digital is an afterthought. And it really needs to be thought of first. Because that's where everyone is really discovering the brand first. So it needs and if you do things, treat digital as an afterthought, and you're working on it in the traditional sense, not everything that is done in those mediums translates well over into the digital landscape.
Right.
Yeah, so it's imperative to take that digital first approach. So that's a big effort that we're going to put forth this year.
How do you see video playing into a digital first strategy?
Video is going to become increasingly more important. It just keeps blossoming and growing, and people are demanding it. One thing I think I've noticed over this past year is the vast number of new businesses that are providing instruction-based video, whether it's some sort of fitness network that has all kinds of, whether it's yoga or some cardio this or all that. There's all these instructional type video companies that are coming out with content. It's all video. People want to learn, and
right.
There's all this video-based learning that's just exploding right now. It's just going to continue to explode.
Right, that's a natural way to learn, right, from videos.
Absolutely.
Right? It seems like an ideal medium now for people, for companies to use knowledge to build their brand too, right?
That's right.
Thought leadership.
Yes, thought leadership, training, all kinds of things that could be done with video. And I'm really wondering what colleges are going to do, honestly, what's going to keep them relevant when a lot of things you can learn on your own.
Right. We had a live version of the Critical Mass Radio Show at one of the local universities last year, and we were talking about what is the future for four-year institutions when technology can bring the student right to the source of information without the middleman.
That's right.
Being the university.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a spirited conversation, and it's available as a podcast on iTunes if you want to listen to that.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
There were quite a range of opinions, right?
Oh, yes.
Right, because you still have higher education institutions that are entrenched.
Right. I could almost equate that to some people, say in the real estate market when you had the agents say, "Oh, it's going to last forever. Right. Oh, it's not going to bust."
Right. I bring a lot of value.
Right.
Okay.
Well, things change.
So if someone wants to learn more about your firm, how do they find you online?
Quickest way to do that is go to rhythmagency.com. That's RHYTHM agency.com. And I'm on LinkedIn, so connect with me. I invite people to connect with me on LinkedIn, of course. Just search for my name, Craig Cooke, that's the E at the end of Cooke, and on Twitter and so forth. But going to our website, that's where you can connect to everything and learn all about us.
Well, I really appreciate you giving of your time. Congratulations, heartfelt congratulations on your 20-year anniversary, my friend. I'm so glad for you and your firm, and I look forward to having you on again in the future.
Oh, I'd love that.
Okay, thanks for being a friend and a part of the community.
Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Rick Gillis, our author, is next. He's the author of the book Promote. It's Who Knows What You Know That Makes a Career. And we're going to be talking about the lessons that he writes about for individuals who are managing their career, for you, CEOs and business owners, to manage the career of your company. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after these words.